What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Wednesday debate amongst friends. Doc Leeson is the podcasting beast alongside the Professor John Gotti, the King of R&D, the Troll Master, Data Analyst, and just the conqueror of his own fate. That's right, the Terminator. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the cleaner, the guy who swept up all the confetti last night as we hit 10,000 listen on this great platform that Anchor has built for us. Johnny, I hope your arms aren't tired from all of that sweeping, you bad mother cleaner, you.
The hype almost killed Doc, and that would have been a yikes. I am the best podcasting machine, the least hype machine. That guy over there, always tranquilo, Doc, L.E. Dillo. Doc, I'm happy that we hit this milestone. I appreciate all of our listeners out there from the US all the way to France, to the people over in the UK and all over the world. We appreciate you. We love you. And we're always going to strive to provide you with better content with each season that comes along. I mean, it's not much more for me to say, Doc. I mean, I'm happy.
Yeah, this has been a great run. And I mentioned this, and we'll jump into this, obviously after the sentimental word from us. We started this podcast 5 years ago, right? And we went through our ups and downs, our struggles. Oh, people are like, 5 years ago? What? But yes, oh, it was a long journey, but we finally knocked out the kinks, and here we are rocking and rolling, right?
Yeah,
The
pretty much.
kings of podcasting and rolling. But Johnny, we've done it. Now we're on the 25K, right? That's what we said, 25K.
Exactly. On the 25K, we're setting further 10K goals for us. And we hit one of our 10K goals, which is to hit 10K. But that's enough of that sentimental crap. Doc, we had a Monday night football game for the ages.
It was for the ages. I felt like there was a lot of things going on. Number one, the Colts really looked amazing in the first half, shocking us with their great play. There were some big plays made, but then the Ravens, similar to what we talk about in the power rankings, which we're going to get to. We always talk about how the Ravens, we just feel like they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Like their performance, usually throughout the whole game, isn't. It doesn't show a 4-1 team.
Yes.
Like
The record doesn't reflect
doesn't reflect at all.
how they play on the field. And of course, we had Herculean efforts from Lamar Jackson once again. I mean, and these defense really locked them down. But I mean, you can't really lock down the Ravens offense. You could only contain it.
Right.
And
Right.
once they unleash, like the craziest part is when they went into overtime, I told Doc, I said, watch, they're gonna win with a touchdown, and it's gonna be a pass to Hollywood Brown. And goodness gracious, that's exactly what happened.
Well, that was after I said pick six for the Ravens win, which
You
didn't
did,
happen.
yeah, you did say
Yeah.
that.
Well, so let's break it down. I think the Colts where they went wrong, obviously they missed the kicker missed left, right? Then this
it
next
was
field
just
goal is
it was just a
blocked.
bad
Yeah.
weekend for kickers, period.
But yeah, what they said 14, 13 or 14 missed extra points for the whole weekend.
I think it was like 15 at the by
Oh
the end of the
my
game.
goodness. So let's think about this here. So three things happen. Obviously the two field goals, right? That Lamar Jackson fumble, that was the big discussion, that quote unquote defensive play of the game, right? Possibly of the week. He fumbles at the goal line, which was nuts. Then he almost fumbled again at the goal line, which is even worse.
Worse. Yep.
But Darius Leonard, obviously, we talked about him early in the year when he got his extension. Made a huge play, picked up the ball, and in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
threw it behind him. Like, I don't think it should matter. Like, I think they blew that call because they couldn't determine whether Lamar Jackson was down or not.
Hashtag lateral gate.
Yes, that was unbelievable. I think they just didn't know if Lamar was down or not.
And we always talk about, makeup calls
Hmm.
that occurred, and they had a makeup call because of the bad call.
Yeah, yeah. Because that was definitely it was not a forward lateral. That pass was at least, at minimum, side to side.
Yeah, it was parallel. It was parallel.
At minimum parallel. Um, but he literally pitched it backwards. It's not his fault. I mean, I can't say it's not his fault, but you can't say as a referee that you know a a person receiving that pitch is supposed to stop,
Yeah.
catch it, and then
And
keep
then
running
keep
like that.
like no.
Yeah, I don't think they knock it off, but what a great play. Obviously, the Ravens did win it in overtime. It was cool to see,
Yeah.
Lamar have a great day. I'm sure his QB ranking will go up after his,
Of course. Of course
huge,
it of
huge
course it
numbers.
did. Are you kidding me? Of course it did. The fact that they scored 22 unanswered points.
Right, right. No, absolutely. And it was crazy because the Colts are playing really, really good
And
defense, which we
and
which
I'll
we
tell you,
said.
there's no knock on Carson Wentz's play either. He had 402 yards, 25 for 35 with two TDs and no picks. Like it's not like
Hmm.
he was playing terribly down the stretch. It's just
Right.
the Ravens was able to score.
Yeah, and like I said, the Colts defense was playing really well. I mean, what they were trying to do, of course, was keep Lamar in the pocket, so the pass rush wasn't really getting there as often, except for the one where they did a small package on him and rolled him up for the 3 count.
Stealing the win.
Right. But yeah, that particular play was huge. Like I said, the missed field goals, the extra point, as well as that field goal that was blocked by Calais Campbell, who I said should stop flexing before they hit him with the drug test. It was huge,
That's hilarious.
absolutely huge, and one of those situations where the Ravens wanted this win, and this is a big win for the
This
Ravens. I
was a
think
huge win.
this is one that I think helps them strengthen their distance from the Chiefs, which is something else we might want to touch on really quickly, and that was
But we'll
Stephen
talk
A.
we'll talk about that during the power rankings.
Okay,
You know what?
that
Now that you say that, let's go to the power
yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, because
rankings.
I want to make sure I don't, because I was thinking about it this morning. I was like, I want to make sure I don't forget about this moment, even though I know the Chiefs have fallen again. But I want to make sure I didn't forget about it. But yeah, let's hit the power rankings here. Number one, I know you wanted to tell me the other day where my Bucks landed and how things are looking. But this is a no-brainer. It would be the Buffalo Bills.
Two shutouts during the season. They
And
dominated the Chiefs,
right, you're reigning
who
defending AFC champions.
whom whom people had absolutely washing the Buffalo Bills on Sunday prior to the game.
Agreed. Yeah, I expected
Except
them to as well.
except for the Sunday night countdown,
Oh, they didn't.
it was a majority saying the Bills are going to win that game. So shout outs to them because normally they would go with whom the people were saying.
Of course, of course. And the Buffalo Bills are playing great. Josh Allen is really really dominating. Like you said last week and the week before last and last
I
year, he's
yeah,
having an MVP.
I've been
You
saying
know,
this.
he stays healthy. I think we got something here.
Yeah.
Buffalo, they have something.
Also shout outs to their depth, which was the other thing that they had an issue with on defense.
True.
Their frontline depth.
I like that last. I like that last little sentence there. Buffalo is a juggernaut. I'm the juggernaut.
Let's not throw out those type of jargons just yet.
Hey, they said it,
I
not
know,
me.
but let's not throw those jargons out just yet. All I'm saying is they're
No,
playing inspired football right now.
number two here, we have the Arizona Cardinals. Previously last week, number one, they struggled a little bit against the 49ers,
It was a defensive
which,
game. It was a defense.
yeah, which is,
It's not really a struggle. It's a defensive game. Plus, it's a NFC West divisional game as well too. Like, yes, we had some blowouts, but like this is
mhm,
kind of what we expected from the division called Murderers Row.
right. But I mean, to be undefeated and drop a spot, that does seem pretty rough. That just goes to show you how great Buffalo is.
Hmm.
Um, and then previously ranked number two, which I personally don't think, I could understand why we would drop, but I mean, we only reason I can say that we did drop is because we looked pretty terrible um, in the first half versus the Dolphins. But then
That's
out of
fair.
nowhere, it was just like we couldn't miss. I mean, the deep throws, the freaking touchdowns were just piling up. I mean, I think all three starting receivers were close to 100 yards. It was getting out of
I
hand.
think the problem now with the Bucks is now they have to actually crush a
Right?
team that's doing bad instead of playing down
Yeah,
to their competition,
playing down to the
which
competition
is which is why I think they went down to three. So,
makes sense.
but number
Moving up from number
four,
six here, the Dallas, them boys, Cowboys.
this is their division to lose, and I
It
think
really
I
is.
think I literally said that last year as well, and the year
Hmm.
before that. Like this is their division to lose. No one else
Yeah,
in this
I can agree.
division is good.
They're deep, man. I mean, their receiving core is really, really amazing. Dak is playing amazing. They're finally getting Zeke back in there. This is the time where they should be riding high, and it's crazy because I don't hear them when they're winning. You don't hear them as much.
Oh, because they're trying not to jinx themselves by
Oh my god! But
they obviously heard Prof keep saying time and time again, don't get cocky.
true, that's true. That's true. You don't want to do that. But number
But
five, moving up from number seven, you got the Los Angeles
well
Chargers,
deserved. They are a top five team. What a
which is
great
interesting.
what a great game they had against the Browns. Of course, people are only looking at the defense, but if you have a you know Broadway type of offense that can just light up the scoreboard, there's not much a defense can do if they're in a
True,
if they're in a groove. And I feel like that's a knock against the Chargers defense.
true.
But they played really, really well.
Yeah, 47-42. I mean, like I said, Justin Herbert, him and Josh Allen clearly are the future with Dak and Kyler Murray. Like pretty much all these guys, except for Tom Brady, um, are the future, the futures of the league here. So it's very, very, inspiring to see
Hmm.
these particular quarterbacks shining at this particular time. Because Aaron Rodgers is out soon. Tom is out soon. Matthew Stafford eventually is going to be out soon, and you're going to
Eventually.
have yeah, you're gonna have Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson. You're gonna have Justin Herbert, Dak. You're gonna have Trey Lance and Kyler Murray, as well as Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Like these are the future of the NFL. So somebody's got to step up. I'm glad it's Josh Allen, and I'm glad it's Justin Herbert. Just waiting for some of these other guys, right?
Yeah,
The
that's all
Joe
they do.
Burrows. We're waiting for the Joe
Who
Burrows,
who who
who's
also had a really good game as well too. Nothing to knock against them. But of course, number
right,
6, we do have the Green Bay Packers.
who they played against,
I
right?
mean, the calamity of kicking woes, it
Yeah, and
really was
he
a
ma
tornado
yeah,
within this game. But the Packers came out with the win. They went down 2 slots. I mean, I guess I feel like they're really dropping them 2 slots because of the kicking, but I mean, the Chargers really played a lot better. So I can understand that. The Cowboys absolutely crushed the Giants like they should have.
right.
I mean, it's hard for me to put them in the top 5 right now.
No, absolutely,
So yeah, they're
absolutely.
out. They're on the outside looking in. Number 7, we do have the Baltimore Ravens.
again, struggling against the Colts, like I get it. Um,
I think their second, the fourth quarter comeback that they had
hmm
saved them from dropping further.
hmm,
That's it. That's all I got. Because other than that, they should be at least at like they should actually be at 9.
hmm. Interesting. Interesting.
Because the other 4-1 team and the 3-2 team, I feel like is actually better than right now. At least until the Ravens face off against the number 9 team.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll get to number 9, which I'm curious to see, what happens. Um, they didn't they play them week 1, the
I don't
Ravens and the
remember.
Browns?
I don't
Yeah, I
remember.
think the Ravens and Browns played week 1, and it was just one of those games. I can go back and check really quickly. But I believe they might have played week 1 or week 2. Let's go back here and just double check really quickly. Nope, they didn't. Um, I felt like they did, but if they didn't, then you're absolutely right. We got to wait to see because that's always one of those matchups that we anticipate, especially with the history between the Browns and the Ravens. Obviously, the Browns leaving to go to Baltimore, right,
Yeah.
and then coming back years later.
Yeah, they're not playing
But
Baltimore until week 12 and 14.
so that should be good then. So yeah, so that is a matchup to look forward to. Hopefully, Baker's up to you know better health
Yeah.
at that
Well,
particular time.
we'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about
hmm
number 8, the Los Angeles Rams. Robert Woods had a heck of a game. Here's the thing with the Rams. They have weapons,
They do.
but of course it all comes down to, Matthew Stafford and whether or not he can deliver the football efficiently.
hmm
And that
hmm
really comes more down to that offensive line. Like if he
It
has
really does.
time to throw the ball, I mean, you saw what happened against. Like, I mean,
Just true. Very true. Um, Defensively, they're a pretty solid team.
yeah, they're still
We
really
know that
solid on defense.
they have
You
one of
know,
the best defensive linemen in the history of the game. Robert Woods and that group, Cooper Cup, Deshaun Jackson, like that's a
Tyler
and Tyler
Higby.
Higbee.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a solid mix of guys. Probably the best weapon core that Matthew Stafford's ever had.
Which
And
is
that's
crazy because I'm thinking of that year where it was him, Calvin. They
and
had
what's his name from Nate Burleson,
yep.
and there was one other guy. But I mean, the problem with Matthew Stafford is I think he relied on Calvin too much, and that's why he struggled after he left. Because I mean, you just come on, you just throw that ball up to him, and
I mean that
that was
speaks
pretty
that speaks
much it.
well on people getting separation though, because that was the
No, it
issue with.
didn't. It didn't matter. It just didn't matter. It was just an overall cheat code. It, Calvin Johnson was broken, as you would say. He was broken. He would just beat people
He was
free.
OD. He was OD.
Yeah, OD, OP, NO, and MNOP, all of it, all the above. Like you just couldn't stop
Number
him.
9, we do have the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about them, but I mean,
hmm
Baker is hurt, but they still put up 42 points
True.
despite it. So
True.
say what you want about the Browns, they're playing really, really good right now.
They are. I mean, they do have the wins over the Bears and Vikings, and then obviously they lost to a really really good Chargers team. So that's why
Mhm.
it's good that they didn't fall out of the top 10. Obviously Baker Mayfield got the shoulder injury, got it popped back in there like real quick. I'm going back out there. Hurry up! I want to get back out there. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
Because I watched it on the Browns Insider YouTube video. I can never remember what it's called, but I think it's called Inside the Dog Pound or something. But yeah, he was like, "Come on, hurry up, pop it back in there, pop it back in there," which is great. You want that, right? You want that. Um, but they have to keep it together. Obviously, they have some things to work out. But losing to a Chargers team, 47-42. no turnovers. It's
Yeah.
amazing. But we have
And
number
of course, wrapping up the number 10, we do
10. Yeah,
have the Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City.
I feel bitter about this one because I don't think they belong in the top 10, but
Ooh.
11, 12, maybe we could put 13 at number 10. Maybe we could put 13 at number 10.
That's an interesting one. I, I
But
I think
11 and
this is
12,
fair.
I can't trust them to be a top 10 team
Yeah,
after, I mean, I can't.
I think this is fair. I don't trust them either. I don't know about the Bengals either, even though you know they played a heck of a game against the Pack. I think if the Bengals would have beat the Packers, there would be no question that they would be.
Yeah, they would definitely be in
Yeah,
there. But they'll
but
probably
the
still put
same.
the Chiefs in. Here's the problem. This and I'm telling you exactly what would have happened if the Bengals beat the Packers on Sunday. The Browns would have been out the top 10, the Bengals would have been number 10, and then the Chiefs would have been number 9. That's exactly how they would have did it.
Mm, but
They're clinging on to the Chiefs.
so here's the thing. So the question, Stephen, I didn't even question it. It was a statement.
Hmm.
It was bold.
It was a
You got
hot
to be
take.
bold the way
It
that
was a hot
goes.
take.
Stephen A. said the Browns. No, not the Browns. Wow.
Yeah,
The
it was the
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
The Chiefs are finished. They're done.
Still too early in the
Stick a
season to
fork in
say
them.
that. Still too early in the season for that. It's only 5 weeks into the season right now.
Yeah, they're 2-3. Now,
Like I only say this because how many times we hear people on ESPN say the same thing about a team and they end up running the table.
it's usually Green Bay. Like I'll be honest with you, it's usually Green Bay or somebody in the NFC East. Now here's why. Now here's what I will say. The only reason it would be tough for the Chiefs is because the Bengals are playing better. The Brown, like the AFC North, which usually is pretty one-sided, right? AFC North looks
Mm,
great so far. Usually the Bengals are usually pretty bad. That's why it's like,
yeah.
that's why it's rough, right? The Broncos have been bad the last couple of years. The Raiders have been bad, right? So now you got Buffalo. New England's still, they're
Kind
still
of still in that middle of the pack.
right. What helps the Chiefs is the AFC South so terrible. I mean, that's
Yes.
what's going to help a lot of AFC teams make it. Those little bubble teams is that the AFC South is bad, in which the Titans, who should be dominating because they're the only team that actually,
Which is why I'm
I
like, I
think,
can't trust them to be number 10 because they're just so inconsistent.
yeah, it's pretty sad actually. It's really really sad. But the Chiefs aren't done. I mean, it's rough because they're number 4 in the division. They're like I said, the AFC champions from last season. Obviously, the previous year Super Bowl winners. Um, but it's
Two,
like
two, two, 2 seasons ago, Super
well,
Bowl
that's why I
winners.
said that's. I just said yeah, the AFC champions last year, then the previous year's Super Bowl winners.
Gotcha.
Uh, but it's like what? It's just been
Honestly,
rough.
it's just
I hate the
them
excuses too.
finding and it's not an excuse, it's a fact. Like all they have to do is just find whatever that's causing them not to play as consistently. And
Hmm.
Dr. Prof always talk about a team needs to play consistent if they want to win, and then they will find their way. They probably won't
Right.
win their division,
Hmm.
probably. We don't know this yet. Still, it's only
True.
5 weeks in the season.
That's true. Um, yeah, and they could easily go on you know, because it's seven. It's more games. It's 17 games this year, right? 18
Hmm.
games.
17 games, 18
So
weeks.
so we got 13 weeks left. I think that means they had 12 games left with the bye week.
Yep.
And I believe they're expanding the playoffs. Correct? Did they expand the playoffs? I can't remember
No, they
now.
just
There's so
added a
many
new
changes.
week. They just added a new week.
Okay. So
They're only expanding it as if after week 18, if there's a tie, like a legitimate tie, they would have to play another game.
play in game. So I mean, the way it's shaping out right now, which is it's crazy, but if the playoffs did start today, and that's why it's like if it started today, obviously they would be out.
Hmm.
clearly. And we would actually have a really interesting playoff here. I mean,
Again,
Char,
people are absolutely prisoners of the moment. Like, can we
right?
agree with that? They're
Of
absolutely
course,
just prisoners of the moment.
of course. Yeah, if the playoffs started today, obviously the Chargers and the Ravens would get the buys. Then you got the Bills, Titans, Bengals, Raiders, right? I mean, that's if it, you know, that would be it. And on the bubble teams would be the Browns, Patriots, Steelers. This is if the playoffs started
Started
today,
today.
right now. The top freaking 7 teams. That's what it's going by, right? Cardinals, Cowboys, Bucks, Packers, Rams, Bears, Panthers. So it's like if it ended today, but it doesn't end today.
But it
So it's
doesn't
like
end today.
everything's so wide open. So people just need to relax.
Relax. Relax.
But
The Broncos obviously is starting to tip backwards a little bit. The Raiders are
mhm,
absolutely going to tip backwards unless they decide
mhm.
to kick themselves in the butt and get with the program.
So it's going to be interesting to see what the Raiders. Obviously, we know everything that's going on, and we're not going to jump back into that. But I could see them possibly winning now. Now that Gruden's out, honestly I think he made them a little worse. He made some really really questionable decisions. The Khalil Mack thing alone, like I said, was enough to, you know, drive a sane man berserk. Right? I'm sure the Raider Nation was really mad at that. I don't think they got anybody with those draft picks either. So I think that's where they went wrong.
Yep.
But we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, the Raiders and the Bears, if the playoffs started today, are in the exact same boat at 3-2. But we'll have to wait and see. This is a big week. Broncos and the Raiders play each other,
Hmm.
so this is important for that particular.
Yeah,
Um,
and folks that are listening, don't listen to Stephen A. Smith. Like, the Chiefs are still a top five offense in the league, despite the record.
yeah,
Just stop it.
yeah. But Johnny, I know that people heard this podcast on their favorite podcast platform. But if they didn't, they can always go to our website at www.debateamongstfriends to hear this episode as well as all the previous. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as we go over the Thursday night game, the preview. We're gonna give you some predictions as the Bucks play against the Eagles in Philadelphia. But we'll also be gonna go ahead and make sure we give you the news, the analysis, and for the 10K listens, you know we're gonna give you the reads.
When we each that upper level.